Exciting Radio. Todd Saylor here with Al Grabowski.
I'm the wingman.
You are the wingman. You're doing a great job.
Fine one, though.
I'm the reserve shoot.
That's right.
You're doing good. I'm going to get with you, Al, because you have just completely littered this entire studio with
Topics.
We can't even begin to get to all. We're supposed to be about Robert Sherman this morning.
Well, Robert.
Well, so let's start with Robert.
Back to it.
Robert, there is...
Or we could talk about China.
China.
That one...
Love China.
That's another show. Paris, forget it. So, Robert, you are a real estate professional. You also have been an ordained minister.
What?
Once you're ordained, are you always ordained?
Yes.
Absolutely. And the other thing he does, he is a professional. Listen,
wrestler.
I'm paid.
Yeah. I want to be a TV show host.
Very well to be a host of this radio show. You need to let me do it, Al.
Go.
He's also a baseball umpire. Have you ever heard of a resume that thick?
Oh, it's like soup.
It is like
chunky
chicken soup.
Chunky soup. All right, Robert.
Baseball umpire.
Give us some wisdom, Robert. I mean, I'm not paying you to sit here and just tell stories because Al's good at that. Tell me something. Tell me something about. I need a secret. I want to. Do you have
inside story?
I want a foreclosure out there that I can go buy cheap and sell high. What do you got for me? I'm waiting.
The problem is my best client just called me on the phone, and I give him all my foreclosures, so I'm not letting that secret out. I can't.
What?
He's probably listening to the show right now, and if I do it, he'll kill me.
I thought I was your best client, Robert.
You're my 99th alternative.
You're just so mad. You're mad because I didn't call you first.
That's exactly right. So I'm going to hold out on you.
Well,
until the show's over.
Well, give us something juicy. Come on. I'm promoting you. Dave Kaufman's promoting you. Al's promoting you. Give us some secrets.
I do think I still think there are some great opportunities, and I do think, and I'm going to give you a great example. I have a great client, and we do a lot of research.
He's backpedaling now. He's like,
oh yeah,
I told you not to put me on the spot like that.
Sometimes big clients move out of town, you know.
That's right. They go to Cortez. Yeah, I know that guy. So we get onto a property, and it's pretty messy. It's a short sale. Okay. We realize that it's a month away from foreclosure, and so we start to dig into it. And lo and behold, it's 2.5 lots in Laurel Park, right? So we just work, and lo and behold, that thing goes to foreclosure. My client gets that property. He gets 2.5 lots for the price of a lot. We've already sold the one lot, and now we're going to list the house and sell the house in the other lot.
Okay, so it's a good story, but it's sold.
Well, I'm not telling you anything about anything that's not sold.
Well, if I'm on the radio, I want to know that you got some good stuff for me.
Can you give us some inside scoop? Okay, is it still viable to house flip? I mean, can you still buy properties
on TV?
Yeah, look, as long as you buy right. I mean,
is that still possible? Because I mean, I know people that do that, and they're saying I can't get inventory. They're like going, "Where's the property?" And they got 5 real estate people working for them, and every time something good comes up, there's like 20 people bidding on it. Yeah. So how do you get a good deal?
You blame the TV shows.
No, I think you got to really hunt. I think you got to drive streets. I think you got to look at people's yards and the way it's taken care of and that property. Listen, John Schaub, to me, was one of the greatest homeowners in Sarasota. He ended up with hundreds of properties because he took the time, even in the good markets and the bad markets, to drive up and down streets, to see where boxes were at a house, to see a yard that had been uncut. And then he would go do the research on that property, and by golly, those properties are still out there today.
All right, so that's good. How do we get? So you're saying, give us a strategy. You need to get there before someone else. You need to get there before. So you're looking at downtrodden houses. You're looking at the community. You're looking uncut yards, newspapers in the driveway.
Pile up for 6 months.
The trash.
I'll drive
trash.
For you, Todd. I'll look for these places.
We need to go digging.
But my license is not active right now.
But the problem is we can't use Robert because he's holding them all for one guy.
No. We can put the arm bar on this guy.
He's
viable.
Yeah,
he's viable.
Yeah, that's one of the studs left. Absolutely. I'm a little worried.
The herd is thinning.
The herd is thinning.
No.
He's like my hairline.
You can work with Robert. So the bottom line is, so do you drive around and look, or do you have people to do that for you?
I do it myself. I like to because I know the neighborhoods. I think I know the locations of where I think properties are still have an opportunity to increase in value over time and even in short term. I had a client that just bought a great house, but a lot of it's timing. Some of it's timing with the seller and their situations. And, I had a client that just got a fabulous house in Southgate. They're going to restore it and put it back on the market, and it's going to be a great deal.
But I mean, the thing that's wild about this area is that this is such a rich area. There's so many people. There's so much capital looking for so few real good deals. Yeah. And so if you have a real good piece of property, in a day or two, how many buyers can you find?
Well,
5, 10, 20?
You can on certain properties. For instance, last week in Venice, I had a client that sent me down and said, look, go look at this property. I think it's really interesting. It's a block off the water. It's going to foreclosure in a week. Yeah. Here was the fascinating thing about that property. Rob Allegra bought a lot, two houses down for $400,000. He's putting a fabulous home on it. This particular piece of property had a mortgage and final judgment of $195,000. My client said, oh, my gosh, if I can get this for $250,000, I've hit it out of the park. And so we made a run at it, but there were 2 other people that bid on it. And so it went to $350,000, which they still felt was a great deal and a great opportunity, 1 block off the beach in Venice.
But these are people that are there. These are not people that say, capital. I have to get a mortgage approved or anything. These are people who come in cash.
They can close that day. Because when you buy a foreclosure, well, as long as you close by the end of business that day, and there aren't a ton of those guys left. There are 4 or 5 of those guys that play in that market.
But there's still hope.
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
Listeners want to know there's hope.
I'll drive around the block for you, Todd.
I think
I'll find
you're not
place.
No.
I think it's like anything, though.
You guys, doing it for Todd.
Hang on.
You're going to do it for Todd.
I want to be
Todd,
serious
I'll do 1
here.
block.
It's like anything. If you own the process, you're going to be successful in it.
That's true.
So if you're committed to finding something, making something happen, you got to get up a little earlier. You got to stay a little later.
Work your ass off.
Yeah. You got to work, though. Yeah.
Beep. Anyways, so.
And that's where the herd gets thinned.
It does. But I want you all to understand, get up early, stay late, get connections.
Yeah.
You got to know people like Robert Sherman in Sotheby's Real Estate. 62 countries, right?
Yep, 62 countries.
Massive. But you do. You need to know people like Al, Dave Kaufman. You need to know people.
I do know them.
Pick up the phone and call Harvey.
Why?
Because he's a good guy. He knows stuff. We talked to him last week. I'm just saying, the more people you know in the industry. But that's
a guy who only buys on the cheap. He's not going to tell you about great deals.
I disagree. He's good about wisdom. People, he's full of wisdom. You need to be a student of your craft. You can't just wake up and say, I'm going to flip houses.
Except when he goes on a sailboat up north all by himself. That's disgusting.
But my point is,
I got to talk to him about that.
Listen, you guys, we need to own our craft. You can't just
no
wake
matter
up,
what it is.
It's not like HGTV, although it's a great entertaining show channel to watch. You can't just show up, pick out a house on the block, do comps, and have it turn out for you because it's just not how it works. You got to search, you got to work, you got to meet people, you got to study your block, you got to work at it.
You guys know Lou Gehrig? Hall of Famer? Not personally, but you at least have heard of him once
a little
or twice.
Before my time.
Great baseball player. How many times did he strike out in his career?
Lots of times.
Over 3,000 times. He was a Hall of Famer.
Lots of times.
But here's the kicker
today.
Okay.
Today.
We're ready up to wrap it up for another hard break. That means Robert passed up. Be quiet.
That's the end of the story.
This guy is an absolute machine. He's taking over the show.
Taking back.
I love you.
I'm going to hit a single.
You look spectacular.
Single.